On and well, a little bit of news from Moderna. So here they are. This is their LinkedIn page. Moderna is delighted to announce that Professor Sir Jonathan Van-Tam has been appointed as a part-time consulting clinical advisor, reporting to Chief Medical Officer Paul Burton. They say the appointment is in accordance with the Department for Health and Social Care in England's business appointment rules policy. Professor Van-Tam, professionally known as JVT, has a distinguished career in public health and epidemiology, working in government, academia, and industry. In 2017, he was seconded to DHSC as Deputy Chief Medical Officer, and he was then key provider of independent advice to the government on COVID-19, leading on health protection and regularly presenting at Downing Street press conferences. He received a knighthood for his services to public health. So this is a bit of good news, David. Do you think this might be called what is going on here? Has he been given a present for all the good work that he did in support of the vaccine industry over the last 2 or 3 years, do you think?
Well, he got a knighthood, but that's not all he got. So he's got this. Is this a retirement plan? It certainly looks like a revolving door. So we have a revolving door between government and such regulation as they now represent, which is very little, as we know. And the industry, big pharma, who are pushing ever more drugs and injections on the country, and they're looking for political mandates and political support to prevent them from lawsuits in order to make their business model possible.
Now, everybody would be very glad to know that Professor Van-Tam is prohibited from using what might be called privileged information that he received while he was working for government in his business interests. So, we'll see how that works out. Now, with that in mind, I want to bring this on screen. This is from the Russian Ministry of Defense, and it's apparently a very recent document. It was a briefing document given by the chief of nuclear, chemical, and biological protection troops of the Russian Armed Forces. This is Lieutenant General Igor Kirillov. And I believe the date of this was the 16th of August, 2023. And this is just the first slide of it. So they're talking about stated and real goals of US military biological programs. And they're talking about monitoring of biological situation, assistance to developing countries, and so on. And various types or signs that the USA is conducting research bypassing obligations under the Biological and Toxin Weapons Convention. Now, the second slide gets more interesting because it's looking at the lobbying interests around pharmaceutical companies. So if we start this is on the left-hand side of the slide. If we start in the top right-hand side, they're looking at the various pharma companies feeding money into political campaigns, and that political campaigns therefore result in presidents and so on being elected into office, who then feed their policy into the various government departments. The various government departments provide funding and direction to some of the NGOs, and the NGOs that they've listed there include Bill and Melinda Gates or the Soros Foundation, Open Society Foundation, and so on, which then feeds into, in this case, they're talking about interests in Ukraine, but of course this doesn't just apply to Ukraine. And then that feeds back into the pharmaceutical companies because mainly the focus here is on the Ukrainian biolabs and so on. And on the right-hand side, they are looking at organizations, for example, the EcoHealth Alliance. Now, I just wanted to put the front page of their website on screen for a second. This is the EcoHealth Alliance. Who stands between you and the next pandemic is their main headline. Learn more about disease recovery. Now, who stands between you and the next pandemic? Just think about that. Are they asking a question of who it might be, or are they referring to the World Health Organization? You can decide for yourself. But anyway, coming back to the Russian Ministry of Defense document, then they're talking about the new pandemic preparedness structure for U.S. biological strategic plans. They're talking about the Department of Defense biomanufacturing strategy published in March 2023. They're talking about the Office of Pandemic Preparedness and Response Policy, which is being headed up by Paul Friedrichs on the right-hand side there. So let's just bring the announcement for that, which this was published by the White House on the 21st July. Fact sheet: White House launches Office of Pandemic Preparedness and Response Policy, headed up by Major General Paul Friedrichs. He's going to serve as the inaugural director. The Biden-Harris administration has made historic progress in our nation's ability to manage COVID-19 so that it no longer meaningfully disrupts the way we live our lives. Under President Biden's leadership, it says, the administration has taken significant steps to ensure all individuals have continued access to life-saving protections, such as vaccines, treatments, and tests, and that the nation is well prepared to manage the risks of COVID-19 or other causes of potential pandemics in the future. So clearly, this whole pandemic preparedness business, aside from what the World Health Organization is doing, and we asked the question a few minutes ago, are they really going to continue this gag? It's looking very like it. Now, coming back to the Russian document then, they're talking about the participation of US Army Medical Research Institute of Infectious Diseases in military biomedical programs and so on. So you can look at this at your leisure. And then finally, they're looking at the people that have been involved in the implementation of US research projects as part of US biological military activities in Ukraine. And they have 6 people on screen there, and so on. Now, no matter what you think about Russia and what whether this is designed to put forward a particular narrative with respect to the Ukraine war or not, the fact is that there's not very much in that several slides that I could find. In fact, nothing that I could find which is untrue or misleading. And we've just given a couple of examples of that on screen. So, David, I was just very quickly get some comment from you on it, because clearly, aside from what Mark's talked about over the last number of weeks and today about the World Health Organization and pandemic preparedness, the Russians, I think, are right to highlight what the United States in particular is doing in this area.
They are, and the core message of this is vital and is undeniable, and that's the circular relationship between big pharma and through government power, tax-exempt foundations, NGOs, and round it goes. So there's a coercive element here, which is exploiting the position in the West for the enrichment of the big pharma companies. And also, you mentioned there, their website pointing towards vaccines, treatments, and tests. I mean, really? They're saying this with a straight face. The vaccines that cause so much harm and that after a short period seem to increase your risk of getting COVID. I don't remember actually there being much in the way of treatments. And the testing was a never-ending catastrophe, which simply generated fear, but didn't generate any clarity or safety. So they're pointing to things which are, as the people who are defending against this narrative from Russia are pointing to innovations and pieces of history from the COVID years that are completely discredited, and they're standing on that. They don't have anything else. This is they do not look at all convincing.
Yeah, indeed. So, Mark, let's move on then.